I'm a little young, but you don't know what I've become. Can't you see it in my face? But even living in disguise, but you can see the killer in my eyes. I've got a look you can't escape. 僕の未来は誰にもわからない。皆は僕をダメなやつと思う。鏡を見つめる僕を見避けているけど中には大きなWhat you think about when you're born into a fire? Let 'em burn it out. Sell 'em to the richest buyer. They wanna let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack. We kill it.
All right, and welcome everyone to this week's edition of the Wrestling with Fans podcast. We are a pro wrestling podcast created by fans for fans from a fan's perspective. My name is Kyle. This is episode 143, and tonight we're going to fantasy book WrestleMania 37. That is the plan. So if you join live here on YouTube, make sure smash that like button and comment. And I realized I'm not recording, so I'm going to redo the intro for the podcast version. All right, welcome everyone to this week's edition of the Wrestling with Fans podcast. Take two. Pro wrestling podcast created by fans for fans from a fan's perspective. My name is Kyle. This is episode 143. And tonight we're going to fantasy book WrestleMania 37. I talked about doing it last night on the Raw preview show. Let's bring the lights in. Let's get everything back to normal. There we go. If you're watching live on YouTube, make sure you give us a big old fat thumbs up. And join me in the comments section. Would love to hear from you guys. And get your all's opinions. Thank you, Louie, for sharing the stream, my friend. And thank you, Jennifer, my wonderful girlfriend, for sharing this stream as well. And I don't know if you can tell, looking over my left shoulder, besides the greatest hat ever. If I get a little distracted tonight, I apologize. Actually, no, let's go and put that on right now. The Caps are playing the Pens. Got it on the TV up here. Pens are up 1-0. I know it has nothing to do with wrestling, and you're all here for wrestling. Let's jump into some things here. I'll just remind you all. Mondays, 7:30 to 8 p.m. Eastern on YouTube. Monday Night Raw preview. Last night was a great show. Shout out to DJ and Teriyaki for joining live. And it turned into a little bit of a fake chat and stream setup chat. A little bit of everything chat. So shout out to you guys for joining in, making the stream really, really fun. All the actions on YouTube. If you're listening to the audio show, I'm going to go a little out of order here. If you're listening to the audio show, you need to go to youtube.com, search Wrestling with Fans podcast, click our blue logo, and then click that subscribe button. All the fun stuff is over on YouTube. I stream 4 nights a week. Mondays, it's the Raw preview. Tuesdays, tonight, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern until roughly 9 p.m. Eastern. It's the live recording of the Wrestling with Fans podcast. Then on Wednesdays from 7:30 to 8 p.m., it's the NXT and AEW Dynamite preview, the Wednesday Night War preview. 15 minutes or so on each show, and sometimes we'll stay on a little late and talk about what everybody wants to see. We'll start with one, maybe flip to the other. Thursdays is a night off, but we talked last night on the Raw preview show about possibly making Thursdays like a gaming, wrestling figure, toy stream, maybe miscellaneous stream, just chatting stream. Possible. We'll see how things go. And then Friday, 7:30 to 8 p.m. Eastern for our SmackDown preview. All that fun stuff. And of course, don't forget all the social medias. Facebook.com/wrestling with fans. Super click that like button. You can follow us over on Facebook. That's the catch-all where everything goes. But where all the action is YouTube. I just talked about it. YouTube.com. Search Wrestling with Fans podcast. Click the blue logo, then click that subscribe button. We are on the drive for 50 subscribers. We are sitting at 39. I would love to get 50 by the end of the month. So if you guys share, if you guys tell your friends, bring everybody on board. We have a lot of fun here on YouTube. I've got some awesome stuff planned for 50. I've got a collection video that's in the works. I've also had a request to make a stream setup for those who enjoy the live streams. I will do a full stream setup, how I have it, and what I use, all that good stuff for you guys to help people out. You can go to twitch.tv/wrestling with fans and give us a follow. It is free to follow on Twitch. Follow us on Instagram. Just search Wrestling with Fans and you'll see our awesome little blue logo. You can follow us there. I posted a picture of one of the little things I'm going to talk about here in a minute. Some cool fig photography, some fig hunt finds, all kinds of cool things over on Instagram. And of course, our website is wrestlingwithfans.com. You can download or stream the shows at any time. New audio podcasts are posted every single Thursday morning around 6 a.m. Eastern. Or you can take us on the go and download us to your favorite podcast listening device. Just search Wrestling with Fans podcast wherever you get your podcast fix. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. We're on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, all the big ones. Wherever you get your podcast fix, you can find Wrestling with Fans. And we are back right here. So, let's take a look. You see these two little gems over my left shoulder here. And the damn cap score to tie it up, so the hat's coming off. I put the hat on, the cap scored, hat comes off. That's just how it works. Went to Walmart. Between jobs, I stopped to use the bathroom. I had to pick up two quick things. I wasn't going to even check the toy aisle, but I figured, why not? I go down the aisle. I just see basics, and then I see a little sliver of gold. And it's none other than Orange Cassidy, Senior Pockets himself, one of the hottest figures out on the market right now. AEW Series 3. I've got the Young Bucks. That unboxing video will hit either tomorrow or Thursday. I don't remember when I had that scheduled. But the Young Bucks Series 3 I picked up. You saw that on a fig hunt last week. But we got Orange Cassidy. And a special shout out to my boy Chris. He did a little fig hunting on his break today at work and stumbled upon some gold himself. He picked up himself an Orange Cassidy. He picked up another Pac figure. But the other figure that I talked about from this wave that I really, really wanted, and he hooked it up today, current TNT champion Darby Allin. Right there. So, we got, in one of the fig hunt videos, I had the Bucks and Riho. I passed on Riho, but now we got Orange Cassidy. Now we have Darby Allin. These figures are going to get unboxed, and they're going to hit this weekend. So be on the lookout for unboxing videos and reviews for Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin. Again, special shout out to my boy Chris for picking up Darby for me. Much appreciated. And shout out to Sleeping Collectibles. Check him out on YouTube. He picked up Bucks Wave 3 today. He just posted a fig hunt finding the Bucks Wave 3. Go check him out. It's Sleeping Collectibles on YouTube. So check that out. So now that all the laundry list of stuff is done, let's quickly run down Elimination Chamber. I talked briefly about it last night on the Raw preview show. I just covered the Raw matches. I don't want to go too in-depth because I do want to cover some more of the SmackDown side of the show on the Friday live stream. But let's just run down the card real quick. Again, I missed the pre-show. I got confused for whatever reason. I know that the show times, what they had been. What's up, DJ? DJ in the chat. What I miss? I don't know if you can see these two right here. Just picked up Orange Cassidy on my lunch break today. And my boy Chris picked me up a Darby Allin Wave 3. Got some new figs. You tuned in just in time, DJ, because I've already done all the laundry list of social media plugs. We're getting ready to start talking Elimination Chamber. We're going to run down the card, just talk about it briefly. If you joined us on Monday, you saw that we talked a little bit about it, but let's talk about the SmackDown Elimination Chamber match. Sami Zayn, King Corbin, Kevin Owens, Jey Uso, Cesaro, and Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan ends up winning the match in about 34 and a half minutes. Daniel Bryan and Cesaro started off the match, and it was probably the smartest decision they could have made. There was a lot of different stories interweaving throughout the entire match. By far the best match of the night. We'll talk more in depth about it on Friday for the SmackDown preview since it involves the Universal title. And by winning this Elimination Chamber match, Daniel Bryan won a title shot later that night against Roman Reigns. And by later that night, it was literally right after the Elimination Chamber match. Daniel Bryan wins. He's still kind of laying in the ring recovering from a brutal Elimination Chamber match. The big dog goes for a spear. Daniel Bryan counters it into the LeBell lock or the yes lock. Roman, fresh, easily breaks out and locks Daniel Bryan in the guillotine for the win in about 90 seconds. And again, I think that was the right decision. It definitely kept, Roman strong. It still gave Daniel Bryan, a lot of clout, going through such a grueling match. It was, I don't think it really hurt Daniel Bryan, but it definitely helped Roman Reigns. And we get the triple threat match for the U.S. title. I talked about it last night a little bit. Matt Riddle defeating Bobby Lashley and John Morrison. John Morrison winning a fatal four-way on the pre-show to take Keith Lee's spot. Matt Riddle pinned John Morrison, so Bobby Lashley was not involved in the decision. The tag team championship for the women's tag team championship, tag team championships. I can't talk all of a sudden. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler defeated the team of Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks. Reginald, who was Carmella's sommelier, came down to offer champagne to Sasha Banks, causing a distraction, allowing Nia Jax to hit the Samoan drop and pick up the win. Weak match. I don't see what the point of it. It didn't do anything positive for Nia and Shayna to beat Bianca and Sasha. It definitely hurt Bianca and Sasha because they worked as a pretty good team, but a stupid lame distraction finish costing the EST and the legit boss the win. We already talked about it at length last night. The Elimination Chamber match for the WWE Championship. Drew McIntyre outlasting AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy, Kofi Kingston, Randy Orton, and Sheamus. in 31 minutes and 10 seconds. Post-match, Bobby Lashley comes down, completely destroys Drew McIntyre. And then The Miz comes down, cashing in the Money in the Bank briefcase for the second time, hitting a skull-crushing finale and pinning Drew McIntyre to capture the WWE Championship. The first half of Elimination Chamber was great. The first three matches, or the first two matches really, were great. The ending was kind of eh. It was a great pay-per-view though. 2.5 hours long. 2.5 hours long. Shorter than your standard episode of Monday Night Raw, which is crazy. So let's briefly talk Raw before we get into the long form topic of the night. Now, I only watched the first hour. I fell asleep, but I did see some highlights and see some recaps of the rest of the show. Matt Riddle defeated John Morrison in the opening match. Great match. These two have great chemistry together. I would love to see more from Matt Riddle and John Morrison in the future. Then you had the New Day, Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston taking on Mace and Teabag of Retribution. The New Day picking up the win in 3 minutes, and then after the match, Ali belittled all the members of Retribution, asking why they suck. No, DJ, we're going to talk about Bobby and Miz tonight. We're going to run down Raw. The long form is we're going to fantasy book some WrestleMania matches. But we're running down Raw now, so we'll talk about it. We'll get to that point. The Hurt Business defeated Lucha House Party in a tornado tag in a pretty short match, 6 minutes. Lucha House Party is underrated and underused. They've put on fire matches in NXT in the Dusty Classic, and even before the Dusty Classic. They're another team that I think will be better suited for the NXT brand. Damian Priest defeated Angel Garza in 6 minutes. It wasn't really a squash match because Angel Garza did get some. Oh, God, excuse me. Now I got the hiccups. Did get a little bit of offense in. Nia and Shayna defeated the team of Asuka and Charlotte Flair for whatever reason. It seems that Asuka and Charlotte are finally over. But the big talking point coming out of this match is during a breakup of a pin attempt, Shayna Baszler kicked Asuka square in the face and apparently knocked out a couple of Asuka's teeth. And you could tell right after the fact she dove down to kind of lay on the ground and pound, but it was obvious she was checking on her and apologizing to her. Then we get Sheamus defeating Jeff Hardy in another great match in 10 minutes. Sheamus and Jeff have great chemistry together. I wouldn't mind seeing more from these guys. Lana and Naomi defeat Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose in a minute and a half in what was described as a Divas era match. And then AJ Styles defeats Ricochet in under 4 minutes. Ricochet is far too talented and underused to be in the position he's in, but it's still good. I'd love to see more from AJ and Ricochet. And then now we can talk about the interweaving storyline throughout the entire night. The show opened with The Miz TV, his championship celebration. They were eventually interrupted by Bobby Lashley and MVP. And it came out that a deal was struck at Elimination Chamber between Lashley, MVP, and The Miz. Where that if Bobby Lashley went out and beat up Drew McIntyre, and it would allow Miz to get the cash in and hopefully win the title. The Miz, for doing so, would give Bobby Lashley the first shot at the WWE Championship. Miz is very hesitant to do this. So Bobby Lashley lays out an ultimatum. You have 1 hour to give me an answer. So that was the opening of the show. So at the 9 o'clock hour, the top of the second hour, we get not GM Adam Pearce in the ring. Bobby Lashley and MVP come down, demanding the Miz come down and give an answer. Miz and Morrison come down. They try to get out of it again. But here comes the money. Shane O'Mac back on Raw again, trying to come out and play Peacemaker a little bit, which is then followed up by the monster among men, Braun Strowman, demanding a match against The Miz since he wasn't added to the Elimination Chamber match. Now, Shane's logic is actually good logic. Braun says, I'm a former Universal Champion, but Shane said, well, that's fine. But the Elimination Chamber was former WWE Champions, and Braun Strowman was not WWE Champion. It ends up leading to a match that was announced where Braun Strowman took on Bobby Lashley in the main event, where if Braun Strowman won, next week on Raw, it would be a triple threat match for the WWE Championship between Bobby Lashley, Braun Strowman, and The Miz. And if Lashley won, it would be one-on-one. Miz versus Lashley for the WWE Championship. Fast forward back to the main event. It was another short match, just over 4 minutes. Two beefy boys having beefy, sweaty fun in the middle of the ring. Bobby Lashley picking up the win. So next week on Raw, it will be Bobby Lashley challenging The Miz for the WWE Championship. Now, whether or not this takes place, we'll see. I have a feeling they're going to try to stretch this out as long as possible, probably even to Fastlane. DJ says 1 week Miz title reign. It is very possible that it'll be a 1 week Miz title reign. I think they'll end up stretching out a couple weeks to Fastlane. I honestly think they'll come up with something. But it wouldn't surprise me if it goes through and the Miz title reign only lasts a week. So at least next week on Raw, next Monday's live stream, we should have some good talking points to cover because I'm assuming we're going to get a WWE title match. Lashley against The Miz. So that was Elimination Chamber. That was Monday Night Raw. Before we dive into the WrestleMania fantasy booking, let's play a little video. Like take a little break in the middle of the show. This video is live on the YouTube channel right now. It was uploaded on Sunday. So if you haven't checked it out, you get a first sneak peek at it. Again, don't forget, we got Orange Cassidy. I found him on my lunch break today. Again, shout out to my boy Chris for picking up a Darby Allin for me today. These bad boys will get unboxed either tonight after the show or tomorrow. They'll probably go up Friday and Saturday. But this is a video that was just posted. I don't feel like reaching up and grabbing them, but Eddie Guerrero, Legends Series 8. I'm your papi. It's DJ says here, honestly, Drew will probably interfere and Miz will retain. Yes. I'm with that 100%. I think that is what is going to happen. Drew's going to get involved. They may even make it a triple threat match at Fastlane. And I think eventually, and we'll talk about it here in a few minutes, it's going to be Bobby and Drew at WrestleMania for the title. While I get finished gathering these notes, we'll take a quick break here in the middle of the show. This is the Eddie Guerrero figure unboxing. And see you guys here in just a couple minutes.
What's good, everybody, and welcome back to the Wrestling with Fans YouTube channel. Today we've got Legend Series 8 Eddie Guerrero. Such an awesome figure. My first Eddie Guerrero in my collection. I was very excited to get my hands on Eddie here. Take a look. It's got the awesome Legends packaging, kind of the goldish color. It's got a picture on the side, same picture on the side. Look at the back here. Viva la raza. He would lie, he would cheat, and he would steal. But there is no denying that Eddie Guerrero was one of the greatest performers to ever lace up a pair of boots. After making his mark with ECW, WCW, and around the world, Eddie finally won the WWE Championship in 2004. With the impact that can still be felt to this day, there was no getting enough of Latino heat. You can see who else is in this Legend Series 8. We got Ultimate Warrior, which is another figure that I've done an unboxing for. Check that out up here. Of course, Eddie, Jake the Snake, who has two figures. One is the variant, kind of the purplish tights, and then the green tights, or the Chase variant. And Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. I do want to get me a Jake. If I find Mr. Wonderful, I might get him to add him to my 80s era collection, but he's not one that I'm hunting now, but I would love to give me a Jake. He was one of my favorites back in the day, but it's all about Eddie Guerrero here. You can see he just has some extra hands. I'm your Poppy t-shirt. But you know how we do here on the channel. Let's crack this bad boy open and let's take a closer look at Legend Series 8 Eddie Guerrero. And just like that, we have Eddie Guerrero. Let's look at the accessories real quick. He does come with the sets of my coating hands with tape, so they get to go in the accessories box. Let's take a look here. Oh, it does have the Legends background. I do love these Legends backgrounds. I wouldn't mind. No, it wouldn't be very too bad for this, but the thing I like is it's got these corners cut out. I wish they were perfectly square, which would make for a nice, cleaner, or much cleaner background. He does come with a Soft Goods I'm Your Poppy t-shirt. Awesome shirt there. So I'm going to get him out of this pose here. Let's take a look. First, let's take a look at the face scan there. And I got to give it to Mattel. That really captures Eddie's look. Like it's great. One of the best head scans I've seen. Got the two-tone hair there. Definitely a unique moment. You know, when Eddie had that short hair look. Take the shirt off here, so you get a better look. Just a little tank top. Again, soft goods. Soft goods are always nice. Just be wary when you display them in the soft goods. Sometimes the black, if the black on the inside, it will leave stains on your fingers. So just be mindful of that. This shouldn't have an issue because it's kind of grayish white on the inside, but his arms are quite stiff there. I'm trying to move them up, but take a look here. We got the blue and yellow flames on the side, Latino on the butt, the gold boots. This is kind of a goldish color with the flames there. Really awesome figure. I do love me some Eddie Guerrero. I do like Eddie Guerrero in this time frame. When he won the WWE Championship, it does have elbow pads here. The wrist gauntlet is all taped, so it kind of goes with the taped hands on both sides. So cool. I love this Eddie Guerrero. Very excited to finally get Latino heat in my collection. Now I might need to find that new China WrestleMania figure because I would go with this Eddie kind of from this era. Be awesome to put those two together in a set. There you have it, guys. Legends Series 8 Eddie Guerrero. I'm Your Poppy. Again, it's got the accessories. Awesome I'm Your Poppy t-shirt. Hope you guys enjoyed this figure unboxing. Let me know what you think of this awesome fig down in the comments below. If you haven't done so already, make sure you click that subscribe button to keep up to date with all the fun wrestling content now coming here on the Wrestling with Fans YouTube channel. Thank you all for watching. Once again, my name is Kyle, and we'll see you all in the next video.
What's up, guys? If you enjoyed that video, you want to check out more from Wrestling Page, check out one right here. If you enjoyed this figure. All right, and we're back. Something new I've created for the podcast. It's the Wrestling with Fans news desk. Hope you guys like it. It's something I'm going to try going forward. I thought it'd be kind of cool to do. Hannah, thank you, dear, for sharing the post as always. I can always count on Hannah and Louie coming through for me, sharing the post on Facebook. Love you guys. Appreciate it. The other new thing I've added, it is the Fig Cam. I thought it'd be cool to put my display up every once in a while I talk long form. Something a little different. Let me know what you guys think. And if you're not live on YouTube, if you're listening to the audio version, you're missing out. YouTube.com, search Wrestling with Fans Podcast. Click the blue logo and then super click that subscribe button. We're trying to hit 50 subscribers by the end of the month. We are sitting at 39 right now. Love to hit 50. All right, I got DJ here in the chat with me. I've also got both rosters for Raw and SmackDown, men's and women's. Now, for the next remainder of the show, we're going to be fantasy booking some matches for WrestleMania. I talked about this last night on the Raw preview show. This is a 2-night event. I think it's April 10th and 11th. I'm expecting probably 8 or 9 matches for each night. So we're going to break it down. Right now, so far, I have 10 total matches. Need to come up with about 8 more. So here's what I have so far. Now, the night doesn't really matter because who knows what match is going to happen on what night. But we're going to probably get a men's battle royal, the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and a women's battle royal, which at one point was the Fabulous Moolah Battle Royal, but due to the backlash over the information that came out about Moolah when they named her, it's just now the women's battle royal. So we've got 2 battle royals so far. We already know one match is going to happen for sure, and that is the Blue Universal title. Roman Reigns will defend against Edge. We know that's going to happen. I guess I didn't talk about this earlier when running down the Elimination Chamber. Edge came out after Roman defeated Daniel Bryan, speared the Blue Universal Champion, and then pointed to the WrestleMania sign. I'm sure we'll get a follow-up on that on SmackDown this week, but we'll cover that more on Friday's live streams. Make sure you come back Friday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, to join for the SmackDown preview. We'll talk about that more. We also have the other Royal Rumble winner from this year, Bianca Belair. Now, while it's not set in stone, I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's going to be Sasha Banks defending the SmackDown Women's title against Bianca Belair. They had the tag match at Elimination Chamber. And they did end up losing, so I'm sure they'll probably have something, a little follow-up from that on SmackDown this week. But I think we're going to go Sasha Bianca for the SmackDown Women's title. As far as the WWE Championship, right now, The Miz is your WWE Champion. We went on a little tangent last night on the Raw pre-show that Miz is probably just, I don't want to say a transitional champion, but he's going to be a temporary champion. I think they wanted to get the belt off of Drew so that he can win it back at WrestleMania. So my guess, Putting on my prediction cap here. Bobby Lashley will either defeat The Miz next week on Raw or as late as Fastlane. So sometime between now and Fastlane, Bobby Lashley will win the WWE Championship. Then he will be challenged by none other than the former WWE Champion, Drew McIntyre. So I'm guessing for the WWE Championship, it's going to be Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre. Staying with the Raw brand. Staying on the Raw brand. Let's talk about the Raw Women's Championship. Currently held by Asuka. And I'll bring myself back in here. After the events of this week's Raw, Charlotte and Asuka seem to be separated at this point. My guess is at Fastlane, it'll be Charlotte versus Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship, where Charlotte will defeat Asuka to capture the Raw Women's title for the 337th time. I'm not even sure how many title reigns Charlotte has at this point. It's a lot. But Charlotte's going to beat Asuka at Fastlane. The next night on Raw, I think we set up our WrestleMania match. Charlotte will come out gloating that she has won the Raw Women's Championship for the 800th time. And This Is My Brutality will blare across the speakers. Rhea Ripley will come out, challenge Charlotte Flair. Remember, they had the match last year. Charlotte won the Women's Royal Rumble in 2020. Decided to challenge the then NXT Women's Champion, Rhea Ripley. Charlotte defeating Rhea at WrestleMania, which angered a lot of people, and I was one of them. Was not really happy about that. I don't think that needed to happen. They could have made a star out of Rhea. But I think this year in 2021 at WrestleMania 37, WWE is going to right that wrong. Rhea Ripley will challenge Charlotte Flair for the Raw Women's title at WrestleMania 37 and defeat Charlotte and become Raw Women's Champion. That is my prediction. So let's go to the secondary titles. Over on SmackDown, you have Big E as your Intercontinental Champion. Now, currently, he's kind of embroiled in a feud with Apollo Crews. I don't know if that'll last all the way until WrestleMania. But what I would love to see is Big E take on another former Intercontinental Champion and Daniel Bryan. Big E versus Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania. Daniel Bryan doesn't have to win the match, but Daniel Bryan, being the megastar that he is, one of the biggest fan favorites of all time, will help cement Big E at the upper echelon of WWE talent. Moving over to the Raw side again, United States Champion Matt Riddle. He still has a first name in my book. Matt Riddle's going to take on Keith Lee. I think we're going to see Matt Riddle versus Keith Lee at WrestleMania for the U.S. title. Keith Lee was supposed to have been in the triple threat match at Elimination Chamber. He is currently dealing with an undisclosed injury. Now, this is all under the guise that Big E will be healthy enough to return in time for WrestleMania. But I'm thinking Keith Lee versus Matt Riddle for the U.S. title at the Show of Shows would be just an absolute fire match. These guys had great stuff in NXT together. And it would be a good time to give Keith Lee his first title up on the main roster. Now let's talk tag teams, guys. Tag team matches. Currently on Raw, the tag team champions are Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin, the Hurt Business. There's no real contenders for the Raw Tag Team Championships. I mean, there are a few teams. And then you have the Viking Raiders, but, Ivar is out hurt. Not sure what the timetable is for his return. You have the Lucha House Party. You have members of Retribution. You've also kind of got teams of Jackson Riker and Elias. You have the New Day. I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm just going to guess that he will be back in time to compete, but I would love to see the Hurt Business versus the Viking Raiders. Be great to have the Viking Raiders return for a match at WrestleMania, defeating the Hurt Business for the tag team titles. Over on the Blue Brand, SmackDown. Again, there's not a lot of tag teams. You have the current champions, Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode. Cesaro and Daniel Bryan are kind of sort of a team. You have Dominic and Rey Mysterio. You have the Street Profits. And then you have Gable and Otis. So not really a lot to go off of over on SmackDown. Should be back in time from injury. So I think to help further the storyline with the Samoan dynasty, Jey Uso will return from injury. And you have Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode taking on the Usos for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. So all the title matches are out of the way. What else can we expect? There's still roughly 8 match spots left for WrestleMania this year. One match I can guarantee we're going to have, and they've already been setting it up. 24/7 champion Bad Bunny and Damian Priest taking on The Miz and John Morrison. Now, up until his WWE Championship win, The Miz and Morrison have been feuding with Bad Bunny since Royal Rumble and Damian Priest. I just talked about it. I think The Miz will either drop the title next week on Raw or, as late as Fastlane. I could even see Bad Bunny causing some type of distraction. Or Drew McIntyre could be involved, as DJ said earlier in the chat. But I think it'll end up leading to Bad Bunny and Damian Priest taking on The Miz and Morrison. That match seems pretty much locked. Then you kind of okay, now what? So that still leaves out guys like Cesaro, Seth Rollins, Shinsuke Nakamura, Kevin Owens. I know I'm missing a few here. AJ Styles on Raw, Jeff Hardy, Jinder Mahal. Yeah, Jinder Mahal deserves a title shot. But one thing I think we are going to get, Randy Orton versus The Fiend. Remember last fall, Randy Orton pretty much burned The Fiend alive We haven't seen The Fiend since. We have seen a lot of Alexa Bliss teasing the return of The Fiend. I don't know when The Fiend will make his return, but you can almost guarantee that The Fiend and Randy Orton will lock up one-on-one at the show of shows at WrestleMania. The real question is, what do you do with guys like a Kevin Owens, a Cesaro, Seth Rollins, Shinsuke Nakamura? It's hard to, like, I honestly don't know what you could do with these guys. I could see maybe some type of tag team battle royal or a cross-branded tag team match with like it's New Day, Street Profits, Otis and Gable, Retribution, some kind of maybe tag team gauntlet match where the winner gets a title shot at their brand's tag team titles. Or maybe just a tag team battle royal in general. But what about the women? Because we got Sasha, Bianca, Charlotte, and Rhea. That's my guess. Are you going to put Bayley in the women's battle royal? Are you going to put Asuka in the women's battle royal? We're going to have a women's tag match at some point. Now, Lana and Naomi are due a women's title match, tag team title match. They haven't gotten that yet. I'm guessing maybe that'll be Fastlane. What I would like to see is Shayna and Nia versus the Riot Squad at WrestleMania. I think Ruby and Liv are probably the best women's team out there currently that's an actual team. I mean, WWE did have the Iconics and broke them up for really no reason. Only to put Peyton Royce back in a team with Lacey Evans there for a hot second. Billy Kay's trying to be a part of the Riot Squad. That's just not really working. I mean, you got Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke over on Raw as well. That could maybe even be a triple threat match. The Riot Squad, Dana Brooke and Mandy, Shayna and Nia, and then maybe even Lana and Naomi make it a fatal four-way for the women's tag team titles. It's a possibility. The real question is, what do you do with, all these other guys? There's so many talented guys on the roster. None of them have any kind of story going into it. But AJ Styles, what do you do with a guy like AJ Styles? I mean, if you go with people on Raw, there's not really a lot you can go off of. I mean, you have trying to see who else is here listed. I mean, Juan Morrison's in a match. Ricochet. I mean, I could see Sheamus versus Jeff Hardy again. I don't know why we get that at WrestleMania, but it's a possibility. But I think one match we're gonna get, and I think they've been kind of hinting it with the pre-elimination chamber stuff and last night on Raw. I think we're gonna get Shane McMahon versus Braun Strowman. Shane's always good for a one-off match at WrestleMania. He'll do some crazy shit and jump off of something really high just because that's what he does. But again, that you're still left with, Cesaro, Seth, Aleister Black, who's been MIA. I'd love to see Aleister Black involved in a big match at WrestleMania, but doesn't seem like Vince sees anything in him. You got guys like Andrade, who actually hasn't been seen since before October. Andrade, one of the few names not even drafted in the 2020 draft. And you got guys like Kevin Owens. I mean, yeah, he'd be good, big name to put in the battle royal, but do you really want to put a guy like Kevin Owens, who's had, 3 straight months headlining pay-per-views against Roman Reigns in a pre-show battle royal? I don't think so. Cesaro, Shinsuke, there's really nothing for them. Either Mysterio, there's really nothing for either of them. I mean, there's so many people on the roster that they're really not doing much with. I mean, Ali, maybe Ali versus Kofi at WrestleMania. They could build to that. I'd be okay with that. They've kind of hinted at it for a while, but haven't really moved anything forward on it. But let's talk about what I've got so far. So you have your men's and women's battle royals. We'll probably have one on each night. WWE Championship match, Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre. Talked about how we think Bobby will get the title, and they'll have Drew get that big moment in front of a crowd. We know Roman Reigns versus Edge is in the books. Edge speared Roman at the Elimination Chamber and pointed to the sign. We'll probably get follow-up on SmackDown this week. I think we're going to see Bianca Belair challenge Sasha Banks for the SmackDown Women's title, which is going to be a great match. That's one match I am definitely is on my wish list that I want to see. Talked about it as well. I think Charlotte's going to beat Asuka probably at Fastlane. Rhea Ripley will be her challenger. They'll right the wrong of last year's WrestleMania, give Rhea Ripley the big win over Charlotte at Mania this year. I'd love to see Big E take on Daniel Bryan for the IC title. Daniel Bryan can help make a superstar out of Big E, picking up a big win. Appreciate the 2 likes on the video. Not sure who they are. They don't pop up as notifications, but appreciate the likes on the stream, guys. Thank you. Matt Riddle, Keith Lee for the U.S. title, barring Keith Lee's injury. I think we're going to see 2 returning teams for the tag titles. On SmackDown, Jey Uso should be back anytime now. I think him and Brother Jey are going to take on Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode and capture the tag titles for the Samoan Dynasty. And I'd love to see it. Like I said, I don't know what his timetable is, but I'd love to see Ivar return. The Viking Raiders take on the Hurt Business, capture the Raw tag titles there. Those are all your title matches. We know we're probably going to get The Fiend versus Randy Orton as soon as The Fiend makes his return to television. We're going to see Damian Priest and Bad Bunny take on The Miz and John Morrison. And I wrote Miss instead of Miz. I don't know why I did that, but fix my own little typo there. Shane McMahon versus Braun Strowman. I think they've teased it on Raw a couple weeks ago and on Raw last night. I think it's only a matter of time before that match is set. And I'm going to go out and say we're going to get a fatal 4-way for the women's tag titles because WWE loves those multi-team matches. Shayna Baszler, Nia Jax defending against the Riot Squad versus Lana and Naomi versus Mandy and Dana. It'll be a cross-brand 4 corners match for the women's tag team championships. They've been having a lot of matches recently, but, Sheamus and Jeff Hardy would be a solid match for both of those guys. Give them plenty of time. I don't know why we'd do it, but, it's an option. I think we'll finally get to it if we don't get it at Fastlane. Kofi Kingston versus Mustafa Ali. Ali will be looking for retribution, pun intended. If you remember last year, Ali was supposed to have been in the Elimination Chamber match but was kayfabe injured by Orton, or maybe it was legit injured. I don't remember at this point. Kofi took his spot. Kofi won the Chamber. Kofi ran the gauntlet on SmackDown. In spite of Vince McMahon, Kofi Mania was born. I guess that was 2 years ago now. Sorry, not last year, 2 years ago. So they've kind of hinted at this story in recent weeks. I say they finally pulled the trigger at WrestleMania. We got Kofi versus Ali. That's really bad. I mean, I named a couple other matches, like maybe a tag team gauntlet match between cross brands. I don't know why we do that, but that is 16 matches we've come up with. Now, this will not be the last time we fantasy book WrestleMania. I will probably do this again post Fastlane, maybe the week after Fastlane. We'll revisit this. I'll keep my notes. We will revisit this card and maybe make some changes depending on what happens over the next 3 to 4 weeks. And looking forward to it. I will probably do a 2-night live stream event for WrestleMania this year. Definitely all of Saturday and hopefully all of Sunday. We'll see how Saturday goes because, again, I do get up at 5:30 in the morning for work. So staying up till 11 o'clock, live streaming WrestleMania only to then getting up for work the next morning is not going to be fun. But we'll definitely do some live streaming for WrestleMania this year. We'll do a live stream for Fastlane. Royal Rumble was a lot of fun. Elimination Chamber this past Sunday was a lot of fun. And if you want to get in on that fun, make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com. Search Wrestling with Fans Podcast. Click the blue logo and then click that subscribe button. Have a super click party all over that subscribe button. We are still on the road to 50 subs here on the channel. We are sitting at 39. I'd love to hit 50 by the end of February. So if you enjoy the audio, if you're listening to this after the fact, check us out on YouTube. A link to the YouTube channel will be in the show notes of the audio podcast. So if you open up your podcasting app or your Spotify app, there'll be some show notes there with some links to all the stuff I talk about. Click that YouTube link and then click that subscribe button. I also have a super click party over on Facebook, facebook.com/wrestling with fans. Hulk, smash that like button to keep up to date with everything we do here on the podcast. You can follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/wrestling with fans. Follow us on the gram. We are on Instagram. Just search Wrestling with Fans. You'll see the blue logo. You can click follow. I'll follow you back. Appreciate all the new follows. I know DJ has followed guys like Sleeping Collectibles and Destination Stone, two really cool guys on YouTube who do fig hunt stuff. So check those guys out as well. You can download or stream the show at any time on our website, wrestlingwithfans.com. New audio podcasts are posted every Thursday morning. Or you can take us on the go and download us to your favorite podcast listening device. You can find us wherever you get your podcast fix. Just search Wrestling with Fans Podcast. Whether it be Apple, Google, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, wherever you get your podcast, you can find Wrestling with Fans. And don't forget, we stream 4 nights a week here. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 7:30 to 8 p.m. Eastern for our Raw, Dynamite, NXT, and SmackDown previews on their respective nights. And then Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern till about 9 p.m. Eastern for a live recording of the Wrestling with Fans podcast. That's the streaming schedule. That's the social medias. And that, my friends, is this week's podcast. Shout out to DJ for being in the live chat with me for a bit. It's always a pleasure having you here, my friend. Join us live on YouTube 4 nights a week. It's a lot of fun. Chat. having the chat going is always fun. And again, shout out to my wonderful girlfriend Jennifer and my friends Louie and Hannah for sharing the stream tonight. Thank you guys so much. Always appreciate the support. But that's going to do it. Again, we'll revisit the WrestleMania card down the line one more time, at least one more time before WrestleMania. We'll revisit what I've written down. We'll make some changes, see how right I am, how wrong I am. I'm sure I'll be really wrong because that's how it works. But that's going to do it for this week. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. I will see you wonderful people next week right here on Wrestling with Fans. I will see you wonderful people next week right here on Wrestling